Recently, we saw the best turn in Catan history, because the 2024 US champion Drew Elliott literally went from this hand to a city in one turn. Now, I've seen him play thousands of games, but to do this in the finals of one of the most competitive Catan tournaments against some of the best players in the world, that's insane. And to understand how he did it, we must know how the game started, because it explains every move that was made during this turn. In Catan, the 5 most important skills are placement prediction, diplomacy, strategy, board awareness, and trading. We're going to focus on the last 3. Drew places white here. He has a lot of wood, brick and sheep, but no ore and low wheat production. So what you do here is to work out your strategy, as well as which trades you need to take and which ones you don't need. First thing I notice is that there are 2 full ore wheat sheep players on the board in red and green. They will at some point need wood and brick to build settlements, as they don't produce any. Usually, ore and wheat are the most desired resources, but on this board you can drive up the price for wood and brick quite well. But you gotta avoid trades between black and the ore wheat sheep players, because then they already have the resource you're offering and it becomes much harder to trade. Second, because you have so much wood and brick, you have a great shot at the longest road. Looks like black is the only competitor, but he has a low amount of wood production. So besides a surprise play at the end, you should be good for the longest road bonus points. But despite strategic positioning and a great trade potential, you still need to find a way to build at least one city to get to 10 victory points. Therefore, the biggest challenge in this game will be getting ore. Another way to get ore besides trading is building on boards, like the wheat board on the 11-4 and the 3-for-1 board at the top of the board. These boards will increase the flexibility within your game. And Drew started the game off super strong. He gained a wood and a brick through dice rolls, then stole a wheat from black and traded the sheep with red to build a road plus a settlement on a wheat board. Now that's a great start. And the rolls continue to fall early on, but make no mistake, not every turn is a home run. Drew's hand is kinda stuck here with 6 cards. And his opponents don't trade with him now that he has a strong start. But it's key you keep trying to find different trade angles, because the next turn he gets it. Green accepts a wood plus a sheep in exchange for an ore. Therefore, Drew can buy a development card, which turns out to be a road builder. That's not ideal. It's a strong card, so don't get me wrong. But his setup already builds a road naturally. So how can you put this to the best use if you don't require the extra roads yourself? Well, by eliminating someone else. Do you see the play? If not, no worries, just let me show you. Drew has the option to play the road builder and to build a settlement on the 3-for-1 board. But what Drew did is even stronger. He does play the road builder to secure the spot on the free wheat. However, instead of settling, he built another road to end red's game. The less red gets to the 6-2, which is quite costly. But it's a risky play, because red might be looking for payback. However, don't forget that this is the final of a prestigious tournament. But people have a lot more motive to keep playing instead of making revenge plays than during your average ranked game. And on top of that, red still has something to play for with these 3 unplayed development cards. As a bonus, it makes it so that trading with red becomes a smaller problem than it used to be before. The next turn we see Drew keeps trying to find angles to get better trades. Even though he's in the best position already, he recognizes his opponents need to do something to get back into the game. So he tries wood for wheat, wood for sheep, and sheep for wheat, and ultimately he lands the first one. With this wheat, he buys a development card. He gets a knight, while he was likely hoping for a monopoly or a year of plenty to make building that city easier. But the knight's not bad, because it gets you some leverage over players who would potentially trade you an ore to avoid getting blocked. But Drew's not blocked right now, so that's for later. And Drew's next turn is great too. First, he has a lot of options. His hand is 2 wood, 2 brick, a sheep and a wheat, which allows him to build a road and a settlement. Sounds good, right? Well, no. The right play is to tell red that you're able to take their last hope for a settlement spot. It takes 2. To avoid this from happening, red promises a future free ore to Drew. That's always helpful. Okay, so now you settle, right? Well, not per se. The risk of settling here is that you get into a position that's labeled stuck. Because you'd have 5 settlements down, you wouldn't have any settlements left to build until you build a city, and you produce no ore. But okay, that's a risk and he took it. I don't see a better play here, and Drew didn't either, so he went with it and settled. He also built a road on the 6 wood to empty his hand. And now we have it. Turn you've been waiting for. First of all, you would expect Drew to get a big roll like the 3, but it's just the 11, so he picks up a wheat as his first card for the city. Next, he cashes in the free ore from the previous round by trading a wood and a sheep for ore with red, and then trading the wood and the sheep back. This effectively gives Drew a free ore. Drew also realizes green needs to build roads to have a shot at winning, and that green has a ton of sheep. So he trades a wood and a brick to green in exchange for 2 sheep. And he was able to get this 2 for 2 deal on his turn because red wants the exact same resources, leaving less room to negotiate for either of them. So despite the previous trade, red takes the 2 for 2 deal as well, because red needs to take some risk to get back to a strong position. A sheep is easy to get. But the reason Drew is hoarding all these sheep is because when he settled on the 8 wheat, he also got the 2 for 1 sheep board. But first he activates his knight, because Drew is not the only player to receive wheat when an 11 rolls, because black does too. And black only has 1 card, so after taking the wheat and porting his 4 sheep for 2 ore, he can build a city, which led to Drew winning the game easily, because he has the longest road already. So Drew went from a stuck position without any ore production and no city materials to begin with, to a city and a completely winning position. And that's why I believe we just witnessed the greatest turn in Catan history.